Juno has fallen. There is a story to tell that was once written in hell. It has not yet happened, nor is it a mere meaningless spell. The prediction was made, and I will let you see that the darkest of beings had planned to destroy all good that we perceive. Here is what they predicted, but we don't need to agree. Juno has fallen, as it is written, said those dastardly villains from the rogue planet in the cinders. The earth was a fine ship, and we hated to see her go under, but the rules of the captain declare complete destruction. A masterful plan was created from the beginning. They went on to say, let's overtake all by creating a division. The writings are on the wall. We can no longer have seclusion. We were taken from the fall because we are so full of rebellion. Our hearts are big black holes, and one cannot see light within them. If you dare enter into our snare, we will stretch you to no ending repair. It will distort all but your hair, and that will be consumed by the fire that is waiting. If you try to seek them out, it will be futile for you to escape. Their intentions carry endless hate and divorce from all that is great. No golden chariots in sight, well hidden behind the clouds. And sometimes the gray horizon peeks through light of their eternal day and observes Juno's home of endless nights. They sent a wicked maiden. She lurks within the shadows of night. Too dark to see her, she reflects a magic image in the water, and then she is perceived as a dainty chrysalis flower. Everyone has met her ghost. She roams about the earth with her host. She is a force that cannot be reckoned with. She is the daughter of the darkest darkness. So magical in the beginning, she can cast a spell without your knowing. Her wand is within her eyes when they are glowing. No surprise to her, she reads your mind. A fatal blow from her, and you become temporarily blind. This maven is so bold to declare she is the fairest in the land. But behind the jeweled eyes and vibrant hair is a disguise of dead men's bones, with drooping eyes and worms emerging. She has been called Medusa, but is much more deserving of her own evil eyes than anyone has beheld. If you speak abruptly to her, you will have to defend your own life, or she will cast a spell on your mind. You will become a prisoner of your own demise. She can shapeshift into many things as other planetary beings can, and has used it to her advantage, being the greatest deceiver in the land. Her name is Lilith. Before there was Eve, the earth began with the night. These were creatures without light. Thousands of years later, there was a fallen angel who learned to be better. He lived by the North Pole and was named Juno when they gave him his first bow. An Inuit man from an ancient clan, he learned the depths of spirituality to keep in touch with his native ancestry. Simple and true, Juno knew just what to do. He was wise beyond years and lived many lifetimes of tears. His people lived a hard life of frigid temperatures and little light. They hunted deer and other creatures there, then chipped through the ice to find fish in abundance and an ocean full of life. Juno became a chief of his tribe. He kept things together and did speak with the wise. He had communication with the angels above, and learned the wisdom of the gods, whom he grew to love. The darkness began to descend when the rogue ship landed, a mystery of the mind when other planetary creatures did arise. There was a rumble beneath the ice. Some ice caps began to melt. The land seemed to shake as unseen beings were there to descend. There was this creature Lilith and her many other beings, who came to hurt the planet with intentions of seducing mankind with greed and malice. We shall take from the resources of this planet. There is black gold under this iceberg, and we can gather much from it. We see other things beneath the sun, when darkness descends and no one else can come. We see at night, there is no surprise. We can change the hearts of men from doing what's right. Lilith persuaded many to begin drilling oil on the virgin Arctic Circle. She cut back the ice and found other types of spoil. She gathered the resources of all that she needed and did this beneath the northern lights of heavenly beings. The Earth Keepers and Juno fought hard through prayer to stave off the enemy that they could feel in the air. Their voices were strong, but Lilith was stronger. She set out to destroy the very existence of drinking water. She purged and surged with a poison of deceit and persuaded big industry to take more than it needed. The ice caps did melt from her poisonous pride of creating chemicals that destroyed particles of air in the skies. As the ice caps began to melt, as was her master plan, she began to dig much further to find other resources on that land. Some of her chemical extraction was perfect to take back to her rebellious planet. Even better, she thought. We can take everything on this planet. It will all be ours. Why bother returning home? We can live here and rule on our own. I will be powerful, a man of deceit, and we can control all the earth and those we meet. The beings all agreed and took rebellion across the seas. There were battles and fights in many locations at night. The empire shook as the financial industry took a dive. The end was determined to control everyone through economic hard times. Oh yes, we have done well. The people can't see, nor can they tell, for we are hidden from them. Only the ones who are spiritual can see us rise and descend. However, no one will listen to them, because they will sound silly by accusing us of being dark creatures from below. The plan went well as they began to turn the earth into a personal hell. And the ice began to melt from the fires of greed that were spent. The wind, the waves, the tornadoes and hurricanes, the tsunamis, the forest fires, and the stock market size were all the signs of these terrible times. Then Juno prayed in the most miraculous way to make everyone realize that the earth needs to stay. We can live in unity. We can love the earth instinctively. We can help one another. Don't you remember that we are sisters and brothers? Some heard his cry, and many came by to pray by the ice caps where the northern lights fly. Some tried to destroy him. Some sought to take his land. He stood solid by the ice like an ancient, wise old man, a pillar of the earth. Juno stood solid like an Inuksuk. He didn't bow to the wind or any power that tried to overtake him. He remembered his angelic armor He flew high to spiritual dimensions and became the strength that was needed for this very trying generation. A crowd surrounded Juno to hear him speak his wisdom. Remember, my brothers and sisters, we are the ancient people of Earth's kingdom. Our land was made in purity. Our light is from the divine. We are given what we need when we are hungry or need shelter from cold winds in the sky. Let's think about our digging. The oil fields are plenty. We need to keep this healthy balance by preserving our icy shelves of winter. The snow and ice in the poles keep the earth's water from overflowing. Your borders will be submerged in water. If you think that this is harmless, imagine no home for your sons or daughters. The people listened closely. Some agreed and some were still deceived. The energy of darkness had a stranglehold on too many who lived in greed. Maybe some were just blinded and they couldn't see. Either way, Lilith didn't give up that day. She continued to destroy the works of Juno anyway. She wanted to say that Juno had fallen. In the end, it was her own judgment that was calling. The people began to see the mess she left for them to clean. Then their eyes began to open, and for some, it was the first time they could see. The prayers went up in a mass of unity. We all took back our home with love, gratitude, and beauty. There is money to be made with creative resources and ideas that the earth does crave. Let Juno lead the way in creating a greener earth today.
Hello everyone. The story of Juno was published in the year 2011. During that time, we had no idea of all the different things that were going to transpire. I know we talk about global warming and the environment has been a major issue, but also some of these other things that have happened, and even almost hinting about isolation and some other terrible things in the beginning, in the very beginning of the story. It pretty much lays out this kind of statement: Juno has fallen as it is written. It's almost like prophetic in a way. And so the story was once written in hell. Like, in other words, it was planned. It was a dark plan for the planet. It was a plan from the cinders. And, I also thought of Cinderella because it's this Lilith that is the one who it seems to be in charge of this planet or these plans of whatever they're doing. And they're planning, saying, well, it was a good planet, but we're going to have to destroy it. And they have their reasons, it seems. Although it doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like what we're going through right now. They refer to her as a Medusa, and all of these reflections of the negative aspect of the feminine. And I had discussions with people about, of course, male, female. There's goodness. But then there are villains of male and female. And so in this case, this is a villainous female that seems to be behind some of these intentions, making herself look beautiful, kind of like the chrysalis flower. The mirror, looking in the mirror, the cinders, the Cinderella, and the maven, referring to her with all these different terms. And this is before I did a lot of research, and it just sort of channeled these stories from Edgar Allan Poe. The jeweled eyes, the vibrant hair, but inside are dead man's bones, drooping eyes, worms emerging, and so forth, and all these terrible things. And then we have this fallen angel called Juno, but I think it's more of a reference of Juno being a location in Alaska, because clearly the Juno of the Greek myths is, or is it Roman, is related to Hera, and this is not about Hera. But sort of Lilith is sort of like a Hera type of character. So I think, I don't know if it's a play on words or what they're, whatever he's showing. At one point, it told me to write something about a single serve piano and in something. So I know it's involved with these sessions that I did with Jimmy, which I thought were really weird, and I'm probably going to couple these two together because it's something that I hadn't thought of in years. And it's 2011. It's almost 10 years ago that these stories came out. And so when I start looking at it, and I had to think for a moment, I said, this just sounds familiar, because the whole regression issue was around this sheet music and a piano player that had to do with the the killing of certain people by some kind of corporation. And so you have, a corporate kind of destruction happening. You have this astral being. It has a feminine, sort of a feminine nature, I guess. You don't know if it's actually, I don't really feel that it's a human. And then you have this tribe, that's the Inuit, which is like an Eskimo tribe up in the poles, or the North Pole at least. And they're concerned about the weather and all the different things that are happening, the digging, and the overflowing of, the melting of the icebergs. There's just a lot of stuff here. They call it a rogue ship that landed. The darkness began to descend when the rogue ship landed. A mystery of the mind when other planetary creatures did arise. There was a rumble beneath the ice. So, is that the other pole? Is this some of the other things that are going on? And we'll see. The story seems to be highly relevant. She sets out to destroy the very existence of drinking water. There's a lot of different things that happen. The ice caps did melt from the poisonous pride of creating chemicals that destroyed particles of air in the sky. So it sounds like, a lot of the chemtrailing and some other things that may be falling from the sky that we're not aware of, that are unnaturally forcing the ice to melt. It might not be entirely from pollution, but from other causes. There's just a lot in here. There's a lot in here. The rising up of angels, even though some people don't like angels, the angels have done good. There's really some good purposes for them to be here when they're not affected by the negative or whatever they've been influenced with. They talk about the wind, the waves, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the forest fires, the stock market size, and like SIGHS, were all the signs of these terrible times. Yeah, I had no idea. But it ends in a way of reminding people that they can, take care of this. Maybe Some are just blinded and they couldn't see. I mean, we see that a lot. A lot of people just can't see what's actually going on. And the corporations not letting go of the things that are not theirs to take and destroying things for no sensible reason and because of greed. So they choose to be in that dark place and not looking at what's going on. And at some point they say, in the end, it was her own judgment that was calling. The people began to see the mess she left for them to clean. Then their eyes began to open, and for some it was the first time that they could see. The prayers went up in a massive unity. We all took back our home with love, gratitude, and beauty. There is money to be made with creative resources and ideas that the earth does crave. Let Juno lead the way in creating a greener day.